What's going on? Let's talk about it. Hey, been on the road for a minute, back off, Brian Maxwell. And I do read the comments and I do read the messages, and I've gotten an overwhelming amount of requests on people want to know about closing techniques. And I'm not talking about the bullshit salesy stuff, I'm talking about the real deal stuff. And here's the one thing that I notice everybody wants to send me messages on, and they love to use this, which is ABC, always be closing. You know, from the great movie, well-known movie, Glengarry Glen Ross, the great scene, which is the ABC. But I think people have a misunderstanding of what ABC. When it's always be closing, that was back in those days when, you know, being aggressive and being hard to convert a big ticket item was commonplace. But with society becoming a lot more sensitive and having more of a sense of entitlement mentality, things have had to adjust. So when you come out now super aggressive in a deal trying to help a customer, you will lose in almost every situation. Because remember something, that pressure busts pipes, but the right applied pressure also makes diamonds. The kicker is this: if you're driving a car real fast and there's turns in the road, there's bends, there's bumps and whatnot, and you maintain a fast rate of speed and you don't adjust for those turns, those curves, or for those bumps, you may lose control of that vehicle and go off the road. With sales is the same way. You have to learn when to accelerate, when to pull back. When to accelerate, when to pull back. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Number one, at the dealership, when I see people still going out and want to ask about credit and money in the first 30 seconds, that's one of the biggest pieces of bullshit ever. Because they're going out and they're creating a resistance by asking personal information that really have nothing to do with what's going on at that time. Because let's just say they have a 900 credit score and they got $100,000 in their checking account. It doesn't matter if you don't have something there that's going to help them, that they see value in, that they be willing to part with their resources for. And so we got to avoid putting the cart in front of the horse. And the name of the game is going out and making an appropriate greeting and bringing a person into our establishment where every tool and resource we need is at. We could be in more comfort. If it's cold outside, it's warmer in there. If it's warm outside, it's cooler in there. I've got every resource I need to write, document, record any information. They can get off their feet and sit down. There's not all the hustle and bustle around of the outside cars going up and down the street and whatnot. It's us channeled in. And it's my opportunity, your opportunity, to prove to them why and how I'm different than anybody else they may have dealt with or could deal with. Why? Because I genuinely care about helping them. And how do you prove that? And we're going to get to closing, because the better the questions that you ask up front, the easier it is for you to be able to build value and make it easier for people to do business with you later. The kicker is this: our objective is not to be closing. Sales is a lot of individual and compartmentalized successes that have to take place. Because if you don't greet the right way, they're not coming in. If they don't come in, they're not sitting down and you getting information. No info, you don't know what they're looking for. Don't know what they're looking for, you can't present it. No presentation, no demo drive, no deal. So it all begins with our ability to gain intel, gather information. Now, when it comes to closing, the better you are at asking questions, layered questions, questions that allow you to ask a question and regardless of their response will allow you to go into another one. And let me give you an example. Like if you ask a customer, hey, are you looking for something that's new or pre-owned? New. Awesome. Is it going to be for business or for personal use? Business. Really? What type of work do you do? Or even if they say personal use, okay, for personal use. So it's going to be your daily driver or kind of a recreational car. Recreation. Well, what type of things do you typically do for recreation in your spare time? Or for business? Really? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It allows you to be able to open the door for another question, because he or she who is asking questions, number one, is in control because they dictate and they guide the conversation. And remember, your guest has no idea of the way the process should flow. You do. And as the professional, it is our responsibility to just take them by the hand or by the arm, not physically, mentally, and verbally, and kind of take them on a mental trip throughout this entire process of assumption of ownership, of really digging in to find out what their goals, what their objectives are, what is their why that brought them in to that place. Out of all the places they could be in the world, they're there with you at your establishment. Why? And then the better we are at gaining that intel, that information, now when we present it, we can present it in such a custom, every feature and benefit, in such a customized format that really shows them, hey, based on the information you gave me, this particular thing here will help you achieve that, which in turn will improve your life like this. So it's always about making sure that you outline, the more information you got, the easier it is to paint the picture of reward versus risk, okay, of investment versus cost. Because when a person gets to the end and they're just on the fence and they don't know to make that decision, the only reason is they just don't understand how it benefits them. They wouldn't be there if they didn't have the resources or the inclination to at least be interested or consider getting it. But at the end, they just start saying, oh my God, does the risk of me doing this outweigh the reward of me having it? And the better we are at gaining information when we put it together at the end, the easier it is for them to paint the picture and gain the assumption of ownership. The dealerships I work with, one of the things that they love about me training their salespeople is that it's all about the psychological aspect. People buy 90% based off emotion, and we back it up with 10% logic. As human beings, we're not logical thinkers. If we were, we wouldn't eat meat, we wouldn't smoke, we wouldn't drink liquor. Nobody would buy 3 cars and they can only drive 1 at a time, and buy multiple houses and only sleep in 1 bed at a time. But damn, having some steak with some fat and some A1 sauce on it sure enough tastes good, regardless if it's carcass. And taking a shot of that Captain or some Crown after a hard day, woo, may not be the healthiest thing, but it relaxes me. You know, or man, having 3 cars may not be the best investment, but damn, it says something about my status. Whatever it is, it's an emotional reason that we back up with logic. Well, I have 3 cars because in case one breaks down, I've got another, and da-da-da-da. I have multiple houses because, you know, in the summertime, it's cold there and hot there. Whatever it is, we justify it logically. So if you communicate from a logical standpoint, this is where you'll lose and you'll miss out with your guests. But when you come at them from an emotional place, which is why you want to avoid ever asking somebody what they think about something. Because some people have psychotic thoughts, and the way we think can vary depending on our upbringing or our surroundings. But as human beings, how we feel is a lot more commonplace. Okay? We all share the same emotions: happiness, sadness, laughter, crying, joy, pain, anger, whatever it is. We all share those. We all don't share the same thoughts, though. So as opposed to saying, hey, what do you think about this? Because now you're making a person be analytical. When you say, hey, how does this make you feel? How does this sound to you? How do you feel about this? Now it's coming from a more emotional standpoint. People buy 90% based off emotion, back it up with 10% logic. So in order to be able to convert more customers, the better your intel and information gathering is, the easier it is for you to educate rather than negotiate. The reason why so much negotiation goes on, the customer beats them down on price, because they don't feel it's worth what they're asking for. Why? Because nobody took the time to learn, specifically point out, and show reward for you versus risk. Okay? Reward for you versus risk. Investment for you versus cost. That only comes from our intel we gather. And a lot of folks just don't know what to say, how to ask it, because the real pros, the majority of the work is done before they sit down and present numbers. When they present numbers, because they got a full understanding of what's going on, they know the areas of importance, they've made sure that they've identified what those hot buttons are. So now when they lay out that whole enchilada, baby, it's just time to eat. And you might have a little bit of ponging back and forth, but not very much. But those that are spending an hour going back and forth and people willing to walk out and all this crazy, they sucked at gaining information. It's all about the information. Remember, good salespeople practice what to say, while great ones practice what to ask. And I'm going to keep this video brief. So over the next couple of weeks, everything I put out will be on closing techniques. I'll be going into specific objections. I want to think about it, shop around, things of that nature. And if you're somebody that don't really feel like waiting on those, available, I got a link right here in the description over to a short, free training video. That's all it is. Training video. You can check it out absolutely for free. The cool thing is, if you register for it and you don't make it, you'll even be sent the email replay, so you can watch it a little bit later. But check that out. And there's also a free 2-page report that I just put out, which is how to make a positive first impression and the impact of body language. Totally free. It's only 2 pages. Click that link in the description or in the comment section. Go over it, check it out. Download it, watch it. Don't cost you anything but a little bit of time. And let me ask you this, man. How can we ever expect other people to invest in us if we are unwilling to invest in ourselves? So make sure, click that link in the description. Go on over. If you aren't already a Connection Line, click the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's become connected. Click the link in the description. But other than that, be on the lookout for the other videos. But if you're somebody like me that's ready to go get it right now, don't feel like waiting, click that link in the description in the comment section. Go on over there and check it out, man. Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Other than that, I'm back. I'm off the road for a minute, so I'm going to be coming at y'all. Again, Brian Maxwell. Hey, listen, from the top and bottom of my heart, I send out much love, much respect to everybody out there that's grinding in the game, going to get it, creating their own financial independence. Go get it. Go get it. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you at the dealership. Over and out, y'all.